The cool thing about Halfling is that if you're a Halfling barbarian and you have other friends who are Halfling barbarians, you can throw each other like this ball of rage.
My name is Swen Vincke. I'm the game director on Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm Adam Smith, lead writer Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios.
I'm Nick Pechenin. I'm lead systems designer at Larian.
More fun than I expected, because if there's anything that I hate more than a fighter, it's the bard. But they're actually pretty cool.
Favorite thing about bards is killing them.
Well, they're a little bit of everything, so they're almost the closest you would get to classes in that sense. And I like we had the system with all these tones that are in there. So I like it, a vicious mockery, I think. So you get all these tones that are coming out of it, and it's just cool. Second
favorite thing about bards is just playing instruments in the street and people joining in and dancing. It's really, really cool. Bards have always been the comedy class to me. Like they still are. I know that people really love bards. I love them, but I mostly love throwing them off a cliff as a barbarian. We do like throwing things.
It's a theme. It's a pillar. For bards, our audio team really went all out. Like, there's an action that bards can do, which is to insult somebody, and they recorded dozens of insults that you will hear in the game, that if you will try to actually start insulting people in combat. We've recorded multiple musical instruments, multiple songs that they can perform on those musical instruments. And the really cool thing that bards can do, and it's kind of unique, is that at really high level, at level 10, they can pick a spell that is coming from other spell classes, other class lists. So they can take a heal from a cleric or telekinesis from the wizard. That really also creates a lot of combinations that you can do. The rage machine.
Rage.
That's the character you want to take if you want to throw people. You want to throw people off cliffs, you want to throw goblins into other goblins, you can take a goblin, smack another goblin with it, you can take your halfling companion, throw it on the other side of a wall, maybe trying to break them in. The possibilities are endless. You might think it doesn't take a lot of intelligence to play a barbarian, but there's a lot of things you could do with just being really strong and throwing stuff around.
We have an origin character who's a barbarian we announced recently, that's Kalak. She's a tiefling barbarian. She has her own unique kind of rage. So barbarians rage, and it looks awesome, it sounds awesome. Kalak also bursts into flames when she does this, so she's even cooler. Well, Sven always plays as a wizard,
yes.
And this usually means that he has 50 spells and he resorts to fireball every single time. When that doesn't work, he then starts pulling spells out of his pockets and firing them in every single direction. And he's flying and teleporting and zipping around. It's very dangerous to be near Sven as a wizard. That's what I know about wizards.
It's lethal, yeah, frequently.
I feel like it's more dangerous to have a wizard behind me sometimes than it is not to.
You wanna keep your wizard in your line of sight at all times. It's not safe. Wizard is a one-man marching band kind of character. They have everything, but they're very squishy, and they blow up their friends together with their enemies all the time. So if you're playing the wizard, it's really fun. But
when I asked Sven about wizard, all he said was
Fireball.
Yep. Fireball. Flight as well, actually, is his other favorite. Like, he basically wants to be an aeroplane. Another one we have an origin for is the Lyselza fighter. They have the simplicity when you're leveling up. Like, it's a really good class to learn leveling up because you don't have to make many choices. Once you get to high level, you get ridiculously strong. But they are simple compared to some of the other martial classes.
Fighters are very versatile. They can equip almost anything in the game right from the get-go. They're good with all weapons, with all armors. So fighter is a really good class to start creating really crazy combos in terms of rare equipment that you can find and combine together.
Probably my second favorite class.
Was my favorite class until very recently. I mean, sorcerers are just, we have a line somewhere in the game, I think, where Gale says sorcerers are like drunk wizards. He has very little respect for them because they're not scholarly. And wild magic sorcerers are my favorite thing in the game. They are chaos incarnate.
I'm ambivalent about whether it's storm sorcery or wild magic. I think probably wild magic because of the chaos it creates.
Sorcerer is a class that really breaks the game. So they have this feature called meta magic that allows them to modify some of their spells. Let's say you can throw 2 fireballs at the same time, or make one of your spells be a lot more distant, let's say. So there's a lot of things you could do, and the most crazy stuff that I see coming from a playtest, it's usually a sorcerer.
Paladin's my favorite class to roleplay. I like that they have an inbuilt story. They have an oath. They sworn to that oath. We did something that I think is incredibly cool with them, which is the Oathbreaker.
There's multiple ways. It depends also on which oath you took. But if you, for instance, you're supposed to help all of the week and you start murdering them, then the Oathbreaker is going to come and say you broke your oath, and then you get a really special moment in the game.
We always wanted to include it. We had a lot of conversations about how to include it, and we knew that we'd need narrative support for it. People may have seen it already, but I won't spoil it too much. But if you haven't, be a paladin, do something really terrible, and see what happens.
The cool thing about paladins is that they deal a lot of radiant damage, and this is a game where you slay a lot of undead, and a lot of undead are very vulnerable to radiant damage. So when the party comes to a town that is filled with undead, all the party members might say like, oh no, this is gonna be a hard fight, but the paladin goes like, yay!
Warlocks was the first class I played in BU3 actually. I was playing around with Will, who's one of our origins as well. And it's another one with really interesting narrative support. So with Will, you have the pact, the person you have the pact who appears in the game. So this is somebody with gifted powers. It's a really interesting thing to explore narratively. We redid a lot of Will's story to bring the Warlock side of him out more. Really pleased with him.
Warlock is a good starter class if you want to try Spellcaster, but you don't want to go and have a wizards with like 30 spells available. For Warlock, the number of spells you have is limited, but each of them hits very, very hard. So it's a little bit like somebody with a shotgun. You have only two blasts. Yeah, but they count.
I need a cleric because I get hurt a lot. There's a reason Shadowheart's my favorite companion.
Yep.
Shadowheart is the first one that comes to mind. Too powerful, really.
Clerics are really versatile, I mean, right? I mean, but for me, they're the healer. They're the person who stands at the background and goes, why did you do that? And then they fix me up, and I go, thanks God. Whichever one.
Clerics are kind of sneakily the better caster than the wizard, actually.
What?
I might say a heresy here, but they have a lot of spells available. And they can wear heavy armor and not be silenced while they do it. So you get the protection from having really good equipment, but also you can have those 20, 30 spells on your hotbar and have an answer to so many different situations.
I mean, they get cool pets.
Pets. So we have this especially higher level pets because they grow through the game.
Yes, the pets get upgraded. If you summon them at higher levels, they will get really cool armors, they will get different names, and they will get new powers so that they kind of grow alongside with you. But that is for the Beastmaster subclass of Ranger, and for release we're adding the Gloomstalker, which might be my favorite subclass. That's the sneaky Ranger type that a lot of people gravitate to in RPGs because it's just really fun to shoot from the shadows.
Great class. I love wild shaping. You can turn into a dino, into a panther, but also into a badger that can burrow through the ground. It's great.
So me, I'm very basic with druids. I only recently realized we did spores. It's
a new subclass.
I used druid when we first put them in the game, so they were one of the patch editions. I spent a lot of time with them then. My sister, who's a huge D&D player, she will only ever be a druid. She's a nature person. She loves being able to wild shape. So it's always her class. We play co-op together. So for me, the druid it's a bear.
Yeah, turning into different beasts, that's really the really signature thing for druids. We made sure that we had a big selection of really interesting beasts to turn into. And we hope you can do all the ruckus in the city when you turn into a bear and start scaring everybody.
Rogue was my first tabletop D&D class because I was a goth when I was a teenager and I wanted to sneak around in the shadows and be cool. And then I was like, oh, basically I'm an assassin, I'm super cool, I can pick locks and all the rest of it. What I realized was the party I was playing with basically treated me as a keyring. I was the person that followed them around, I picked the locks, and then they were like, oh, there might be some traps in there, and they shoved me forward, and they hoped I survived. That's my rogue experience.
Every party needs a rogue. They not only bring this stealth gameplay when they can assassinate people and attack from the shadows, they're also really good at a lot of skills, sleight of hand. If you need something stolen, if you need a lock picked, if you need a trap disarmed, you're always gonna go to your rogue. But also they can learn other skills and be really kind of jack of all trades, sort of character in this. It's really interesting to see the new subclass, Assassin, perform in combat. They kind of weave in and out of combat, trying to go into shadows and come back unannounced and backstab everybody basically.
Well, that's not my favorite. When Monk went into the game, I was like, I have no idea, never played a Monk before. And I started playing with it because I was interested, because it was new, and fell in love with it. One of the things that, I always do the ninja style Shadow Monk. So it's hit and run tactics for me. You can take down really big things in solo. Like I've been trying to solo as a monk, it's great.
There's a lot of tactics that come out of the speed and mobility that the monk has and the ability to shadow step. I played as a ninja, and so that was actually more fun than I would have expected it to be.
One of the things that's super cool about it is the animations. They're incredible. Like we got martial artists to do them. And you just look badass. Like, I mean, all the casters look really cool. If you prepare a spell and then leave them, they look really cool. With a monk, just prepare one of your monk moves and just leave them idling. It looks awesome.
Yeah, you actually use actual styles in Kung Fu, like the tiger style, the snake style. It looks great, it also sounds great.
Yeah,
the other team had a very specific style developed for Monk. Well, we hope you enjoy that. But on the mechanics side, we also had to do a few tweaks for Monk, because we saw that kind of base class wasn't quite as exciting for some players, the one that we're adapting from Player's Handbook. So we tweaked it up, and well, I think the results with playtesters are explosive in the end game.